Before the story begins, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and like. This will help the channel grow. Echoes of the Iron Key, Detective Mystery Story. Detective Marcus Hale wasn't easily impressed, but even he felt a chill when he saw the convoy's final resting place. The trucks were supposed to be moving under heavy escort, armored, tracked by GPS, guarded by a private security detail. Their cargo, a centuries-old artifact, known only as the Iron Key, rumored to unlock a hidden chamber beneath a medieval fortress. Now, the road was empty. At dawn, Marcus stood by the blackened husk of a single truck, its frame still smoldering. Ash fluttered across the tarmac. No bodies, no crates, no sign of the other vehicles. Just the Iron Key's protective case, cracked open and empty. The lead security officer, pale and sweating, stammered. "It wasn't an ambush. We never saw anyone." Marcus knelt beside the wreckage. Tire tracks scattered into the forest, but then stopped abruptly. The soil was freshly raked, brushed clean. Whoever had taken the key hadn't just stolen it, they had erased their escape. He found something glinting in the grass, a brass token stamped with a triangle surrounding an eye. He recognized it instantly, the mark of the Lantern Circle, an underground group known for orchestrating impossible heists with almost ritualistic precision. This wasn't just theft. It was an omen. The investigation led Marcus to the National Museum, where the Iron Key had been en route for display. Its director, Dr. Eleanor Voss, greeted him in her cavernous office, walls lined with relics under glass. She seemed oddly calm, her voice steady, her eyes unreadable. "The Iron Key has always attracted zealots," she said, sliding a photograph across the desk. It showed the artifact in 1923, during an excavation in Prague. Beside it, a group of workers smiled for the camera, and in the corner, half shrouded in shadow, a tall man in a long coat. Marcus frowned. "Who is he?" Voss shook her head. "We never knew. But he appears in 3 separate photographs across decades. The Circle believes the key isn't just symbolic. They think it leads to a vault filled with documents powerful enough to rewrite history." That night, Marcus returned to his office. On his desk, someone had left a package. Inside was a museum catalog, pages marked with ink. A note, typed on a manual typewriter, slipped free, asterisk. "You're chasing shadows, detective. History belongs to those who seize it." As he read, the lights flickered. Through the blinds, he thought he saw a figure standing in the alley, watching. A lead surfaced. A warehouse on the edge of Ashwood District, rumored to be a Lantern Circle safehouse. Marcus went alone. The building reeked of mold and machine oil. Inside, crates lay scattered, some marked with symbols of ancient cults. On a rusted table, he found maps of Europe, red strings connecting castles, monasteries, and forgotten ruins. And there, in the center, a sketch of the Iron Key, its grooves drawn with mathematical precision. But it wasn't the maps that unnerved him. It was the photographs taped to the wall, candid shots of him, taken from a distance, leaving his apartment, standing at the police station, even inside a cafe. A floorboard creaked above. Marcus drew his gun, creeping up the stairs. The loft was empty, except for a single typewriter still warm to the touch. On the page, asterisk. "You're already too late. Star." As he turned, he caught a glimpse through a shattered window, a dark coat disappearing into the rain. Marcus turned to Professor Calder, a medieval historian who had studied the key for years. The old man's study was cluttered with parchment and flickering candles, the air thick with dust. "The key is no ordinary relic," Calder said, voice shaking. "It was forged for the Order of St. Aurelius. It opens a chamber beneath Castle Weimar. Legends say the chamber holds records of secret alliances, pacts between monarchs and mercenaries. If revealed, Those records could unravel centuries of political history. Marcus leaned forward. And the Lantern Circle wants that power, Calder nodded grimly. They won't stop. To them, history is clay, meant to be reshaped. Detective, if they find that chamber, truth itself will be rewritten. When Marcus left, he noticed something unsettling. His car door was ajar. On the driver's seat lay a single iron key, not the artifact, but a modern one, engraved with the circle's symbol. A message. They were close. Marcus arrived at Castle Weimar just as dusk painted the horizon blood-red. The fortress loomed over jagged cliffs, its windows glowing faintly. Inside, the halls echoed with distant voices. Lanterns lined the path down to the crypts. He followed cautiously, his flashlight beam trembling against centuries-old stone. In the vast underground chamber, members of the Lantern Circle stood in a ring, cloaked, their voices rising in chant. At the center, on a stone altar, rested the iron key. A tall man in a dark coat lifted it high. "The vault will be ours," he declared. Marcus moved quickly. A gunshot cracked, chaos erupted. Shadows clashed with shadows, torches fell, flames licking the ancient walls. Marcus lunged for the altar, grabbing the key as the cloaked figures scattered. But the tall man didn't flee. His eyes glimmered coldly. "The key doesn't unlock doors, detective. It unlocks choices." And with that, he vanished into the smoke. Marcus arrived at Castle Weimar just as dusk painted the horizon blood-red. The fortress loomed over jagged cliffs, its windows glowing faintly. Inside, the halls echoed with distant voices. Lanterns lined the path down to the crypts. He followed cautiously, his flashlight beam trembling against centuries-old stone. In the vast underground chamber, members of the Lantern Circle stood in a ring, cloaked, their voices rising in chant. At the center, on a stone altar, rested the iron key. A tall man in a dark coat lifted it high. "The vault will be ours," he declared. Marcus moved quickly. A gunshot cracked, chaos erupted. Shadows clashed with shadows, torches fell, flames licking the ancient walls. Marcus lunged for the altar, grabbing the key as the cloaked figures scattered. But the tall man didn't flee. His eyes glimmered coldly. "The key doesn't unlock doors, detective. It unlocks choices." And with that, he vanished into the smoke.